Buy my shotgun.
No. Ain't nothing bad ever happened with this shotgun. I'm talking no felonies.
Hi, welcome back to the Radio Podcast. My name's Austin. I'm joined by Devin.
Hello.
And Jeff.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
What's up?
It's motorsport time.
Sure is.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's very nearly motorsport time this weekend.
This weekend is actually, there's too much motorsport for me to watch.
Same.
I'm excited for it. I'm actually only going to watch 2 of the races that I want to watch, and then the next one I'll watch a couple weeks down the line.
Why is it a couple weeks? Why not just like...
Because I got to wait for them to throw it up on YouTube. I'm talking about Formula E.
God.
Have you heard of it? I've been threatening you with it for like months now. And now I've watched some Formula E. I'm caught up. And guess what?
Oh, you're caught up? How many races did you watch in the last 7 days?
Like 5.
5? Wow.
I
watched like 2 of them, actually.
You only watched 1.
1.5.
It was just 1.
It was 1.5.
Anyway. But the races are 45 minutes plus 1 lap. So they go by pretty quick.
Because I saw the last half of Mexico and all of China.
That's still like 48 minutes. The laps are less than 3 minutes.
The laps are closer to 1 minute.
Yeah, closer to like 2.5.
I thought I was seeing like 103s and 104s in China.
I don't remember. You didn't see China. You saw Hong Kong.
You spent almost 4 hours of your life.
Yeah, I spend more than that on one F1 race.
Yeah.
By like
yeah, but F1's good.
a magnitude of
You know what?
2.
Formula E, also actually pretty fun if you're not focused on it entirely and you don't have the bullshit like Fox Sports
and you're
presentation.
Watching anime in the background while playing video games.
I was working over here, Formula E over there, and now
I was just watching the race and I was having an okay time.
yeah, it's pretty good.
They're like bumper cars.
It's fucking nonsense and crazy, and there's way too much collision, but in a fun way.
Like NASCAR.
Depending on which end of that collision you're on.
Yeah, but it's like. It's just kind of like wild in a way that it's just like, yeah, this is fun to watch. And without the Fox Sports presentation, I really enjoyed the whole thing. The commentators were fun. It was nice not having them just like get faded out every 20 minutes.
You don't want to listen to Steve Matchett?
Minutes. Yeah. Steve Matchett did make an appearance once. Instead, it's Bob Varsha, Dario Franchitti, and a third guy. Whose name I cannot remember.
I do like Bob Varsha.
Yeah, he's the one that speaks the least.
He sounds like the Olympics announcer to me.
You're thinking of Bob Costas.
Be the guy for F1.
Not that I've ever heard.
Back on Speed.
I don't disbelieve you, but he's not the guy for F1 for me because that's not somebody that I've ever heard.
He's the guy. Don't worry about it.
The guy for you is Steve Hobbs.
David Hobbs, and no.
Steve Matchett.
No.
The third one, Lee Diffie.
No. It's the Sky team.
Dario Franchitti.
With Martin.
Also, it's really weird. So, like, you see people show up to, like, an F1 race, and everybody's, like, dressed up nice. Like, all the commentators and stuff are wearing, like, suits, or at least, like, a button-up shirt. Like, the post-race, Dario Franchitti is wearing just, like, a white T-shirt tucked into his jeans. I'm like, bro... Okay, I guess.
That's kind of like greaser 50s look, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like I'm walking here. It's right?
I mean...
Did he have like a pack of cigarettes rolled up in the sleeve?
No, but it looked like he shoulda. He kind of has...
That's a bad look.
Like, he would fit into, like, Grease. Like, his, like, style is pretty much
very
that.
like John Travolta.
I have no idea how old Dario Franchitti is, but he's done some IndyCar. He's won some IndyCars. they say.
I believe so.
It's a very familiar name, but I'm not sure.
It's because we don't watch
What
the
he's done.
IndyCar.
Indeed. Anyway, so we watched, you might recall, we watched the first race. I think all of us did, except for Jeff. So both you and I. Did you watch that first race?
What?
All of us did, except for Jeff. With it.
No, I watched part of Mexico City and Hong Kong.
No, back in November.
I watched part of Mexico City.
Oh, was that
and
the
Hong
first
Kong.
race?
Yeah, the first race was in November.
Dude, it's like
It's April. And I'm caught up. I took 5 months off, but I'm back.
That was like 6 months ago.
Yep. Yeah, there's big breaks between the races at the very start of the season. But now they're kind of going. So anyway, watched the first race when it happened, and then haven't talked about it since. Round 2 was in Marrakesh. And as I mentioned before, all the races are 45 minutes plus a lap. This race, Sam Bird was on pole. Pascal Wehrlein in his first race, because he actually wasn't in the first race of the season. They had somebody else in his seat for some reason, but I can't remember even who it was. But I was very disappointed in that. He's starting the race P7. Felipe Massa is P15, and Stoffel Van Dorn is in P22, which is last place, because his car broke down in quality.
Oh.
But also, this is his team's first year in the sport, and it seems like his car sucks. In addition to other problems he's having.
Sucks to suck, as they say.
Indeed. Speaking of sucking, turn 1 of lap 1, Jean-Eric Verne spins and causes just like a big traffic jam behind him, during which Pascal Wehrlein gets into an accident and Stoffel Van Dorn's car breaks down. So both of them are out in turn 1.
These tracks are very narrow, and there's no runoff area in any of them.
Yep. A weird thing about the presentation is that during this race, I didn't notice it so much in the others, but they would just leave the team radios on for like long stretches of time, even when nothing was getting said, and like multiple drivers at once.
That seems like good production.
Yeah, it was weird. But it's just like you've multiple names on screen, so when you start hearing voices come through, you're like, I don't even know who that is talking, because it could be either of these guys' teams. With 9 minutes left in this race, the BMWs are running P1 and P2, and all of a sudden start fighting each other and crash into each other. One of them's out of the race, and the other one like falls back to P4. And then Pascal Wehrlein's teammate, Jerome D'Ambrosio, ends up winning this race.
D'Ambrosio.
D'Ambrosio.
Exactly. And fun post-race quote, celebratory fezzes are out at Mahindra. Because apparently when they win the race, all the dudes at Mahindra just have, like, brought fezzes with them for some reason.
Mahindra's Indian.
Yeah,
right?
they make, like,
their
tractors or
Fez
something.
Yeah, they make tractors. Isn't the Fez, like, a thing from India?
Something like that.
I have no idea.
I don't know what the deal is with fezzes.
Hang on. I'll do the research while you talk to me about this.
So, yeah. D'Ambrosio wins the race, which makes me feel pretty good about, like, if Wehrlein's teammate can win this race. Makes me feel good about his chances for the rest of the season, especially because his teammate started P10 and ends up winning. And then you've got Friends and Bird, which are the two Virgin drivers, second and third, and then Sims and Jean-Eric Verne rounding out the top 5. So at this point, D'Ambrosio is now winning the championship. And over on the constructor side, you've got Techeetah and then Mahindra and then BMW. And then that brings us to round 3, which is Santiago, which is in Chile. Sebastian Buemi's on pole, and Pascal Wehrlein is starting P2 with Sam Bird P4. Sam Bird is kind of, in my time watching this, kind of seems like the Daniel Ricciardo of Formula E in the way he drives. I continue to like Sam Bird. But Pascal Wehrlein is my dude. So I don't know if you remember attack mode we talked about with the first race of the season. So attack mode is a zone that I'm not 100% certain on the specifics, because what they said doesn't seem like it lines up with what I've seen exactly. But basically, there's an area off of the racing line that twice per race you have to use it. But you have to go off of the racing line to drive through this activation zone, which will then give you more power to your engine to use. But you still have the same amount of energy over the race. So you might not actually want to use it, because if you're trying to conserve energy, you could end up fucking yourself by using all of this new power you've got.
You just have an extra 12.5% power on tap.
Yes. But it doesn't... You don't get any more energy.
Right, but it just means your full throttle is now 112.5%
yes.
power consumption. So you could just back it off a little bit. It's not like you're constantly using 12.5% more power than you otherwise would.
No, you just have more available.
You can manage it through the throttle pedal.
This seems overcomplicated.
It's cool. I like it. It's like sort of a DRS equivalent, and it's like, oh...
It's actually like DRS with less rules in a way.
In kind of a way, but also like you're going to lose time going into the activation zone because it's offline every time.
Some of like the one that I saw that really looks like a pain in the ass is on the inside out of a hairpin corner. So you make the hairpin corner, and instead of staying wide to go down the straight, you then have to cut all the way in, and it was within meters of the end of the hairpin, so it was very tight and very out of the way.
Yeah, and you have to stay in it the entire time of the the entire length of the activation zone, else you don't get it. Which some drivers like were occasionally like going in and then like going like too wide and like going out of it, and then they went way offline trying to get this and get nothing for it. So it kind of has like a risk reward thing there. So they can do it twice per race, and they have to do it twice per race, else they get penalized.
Wait, so it's... You can, but also you have to.
Yeah.
You can use it at your discretion, but you have to use your 2 allotments at some point during the race. When you choose to use them is at your discretion.
Yeah.
You can use them under safety car.
Yeah, so the smart thing here seems to like use one maybe early in the race when you're trying to do some passing, and then most drivers I'm seeing are saving one for in case of a safety car towards the end of the race.
They'll go into the activation zone while they're still under safety car, but on the safety car in lap, to where they're not actually losing any time or position by going off racing line, and they immediately have power available as soon as the safety car ends and racing resumes.
Yeah, but they might not know the safety car is ending before they get to the activation zone. So there is like some gamble there, because where the activation zone is, they don't tell them until an hour before the race. So they don't actually even know where it is until then. That way they can't like run computer simulations to try and like optimize that aspect, is why they don't tell them. Which an hour seems to me like maybe it would be enough time, but
yeah,
I don't know.
that.
I don't know about them computers.
Yeah, same.
You get enough of them and you can do some wild stuff.
But yeah, off like any race that I watched that had like a safety car at the end, like you would get just like car after car going through the activation zone, because it's like, well, I'm under safety car, so the car behind me can't pass as I go offline to get this. So they would try and pick it up like right before the safety car ends, and then the attack mode lasts for 4 minutes, and then it's up. And also while it's activated, your halo has a ring of blue LEDs on the outside.
It sucks.
So I think it's cool.
It sucks.
So you can see that a driver has...
If it were a solid band of light, I'd be more into it, but it just looks like a little tiara with LEDs on it, is the best way I could describe it.
It looks cool.
Well, Jeff, I haven't even seen it, but I trust his judgment on how things look.
The lights are the same color as that Blue Frost Gatorade that you got there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's a problem.
Anyway, also, not Sebastian. Well, actually, yes. Sebastian Buemi and Stoffel Van Dorn both crashed their cars. Just they get on the marbles and lose traction and just crash into the wall. At
Street
about
circuits.
20 minutes left in the race for both of them. So another bad race for Stoffel Van Dorn. And then the result of this race, Bird wins, Verline second, and Daniel Abt third, which this puts Bird up into P1 in the championship, then D'Ambrosio, and then Felix Acosta.
D'Ambrosio.
And then Virgin is now winning the Constructors, Mahindra second, and then Techeetah. And now Verline is up to... He finally has points on the board here in his third race of the season, but only his second. He is now P9, again, of 22 drivers. He looked like he might have been able to win this race at one point, but his engine was like his engineer
motor.
I took the same issue with Devin yesterday, and I couldn't really come up with a reason why I preferred motor over engine. But
it's not an engine.
Why?
It is a motor.
Is it not an engine?
Is combustion a prerequisite for an engine?
Then why would it be an internal combustion engine? If you can have an engine that is different.
Yeah, I didn't have a good answer, but I do know that I have a preference for motor.
I believe y'all are right, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
But yeah, his engineer came over the radio and was like, "Hey, you're in danger of overheating."
Engines run on combustion. Motors run on electricity. That's...
Okay. Is that what Google says?
Yes.
Okay. Good to know.
So what about a steam engine?
It's kind of combustion.
No, it's not. It's steam.
How does it get to steam?
You get
boilers.
Hot. Yeah. But you could get steam out of electricity.
But there is combustion happening.
Not necessarily.
Of coal or something to boil.
No. I'm being very pedantic here, but you could get a solar grid, charge a battery, heat water to boiling with the electricity from that battery, and run a steam engine on it.
Yeah.
And there's no combustion involved.
Fuck you, Jeff.
Beside the point. Sorry.
I don't have time. I'm not prepared for this argument.
Round 4, Mexico City. Verline's on pole. And
it's like the normal Mexico City track, except hella short.
Yes, except it's a different route. It is on the circuit Hermanos Rodriguez, but it is a different
There's a baseball
layout.
field there.
Also that. Degrassi is P2, Massa P3, which is the best I've seen Massa ever be in Formula E so far. And Bird is back in P22 because his car broke down in quali. And the race got red flagged early as Nelson Piquet just ran into Jean-Eric Verne. And during the red flag, they're allowed to work on their cars, and all is good. All the drivers are out and stuff. But now the race is shortened in length because due to the red flag and some safety cars. So what ends up happening here is that some of the teams miscalculate how much energy they need to conserve. Because while the red flag was still in effect, a lot of people were being oh yeah, they're just going to go flat out the entire time. There's no need to conserve energy at all. And so what happens here is that both Nissans run out of power 2 laps from the end of the race, or actually the last lap of the race. And they were in third and fourth, and then just run out of power and have to stop. And similarly, Verline is battling with Degrassi for the lead, and he runs out of power just as he's about to cross the finish line. And Degrassi passes him right before the finish line. So Verline finishes P2. But also, while he was fighting with Degrassi, he got pushed off through a chicane. And when you cut a chicane in Formula E, you have to come to a complete stop before you continue.
Really?
Yeah. Which he did not do. And so he got a 5-second penalty for that and actually finishes P6, unfortunately.
Bummer.
But yeah, it's kind of weird because it's Degrassi seems, from what I've seen, he was the season 3 champion, I want to say, and this is season 5 now. But Degrassi seems just overly aggressive, and then he just pushes people off the track to make his passes most of the time.
Yeah, like me in project cars.
Yeah, and it's Verline didn't gain an advantage here.
He absolutely did.
Well, to that car, to the car he was fighting.
He did.
Well, ended up behind him.
Not until afterwards, after he ran out of battery power.
I have not seen this, but this seems like
this car pushed him off, and he ended up finishing behind him, which was two turns later.
Only because he ran out of battery power.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I want Verline to win a race, so I was bummed to see this because it looked like he had it.
I didn't see enough replays of this to really feel confident in this statement that I'm about to make, but from my initial impression, it seemed like he may have looked at Degrassi's pressure on him a little opportunistically as, I can cut the chicane and save some power from not having to accelerate out of this corner, because it didn't look like he actually needed to cut the chicane from one angle that I saw.
He absolutely did. Like, yeah, it was fucked.
Because Degrassi had been biding his time for literally like 20 laps leading up to this point without doing anything like that. Granted, theirs was the last lap of the race, so he had to make that move at some point during that lap in order to try to win.
Yeah.
But it's not like he was constantly doing that throughout the duration of the race.
Yeah.
That I had seen.
Excuse me, sirs. I have an update.
Okay.
A motor is a machine that converts some form of energy into mechanical energy.
Okay.
What about an engine?
Imparts motion.
Yeah, that part we got.
An engine is a motor that converts thermal energy to mechanical work.
Okay. That makes way more sense, and that breaks my solar-powered steam engine argument.
There we go.
Because that's still using thermal energy.
Yes.
So, Degrassi wins this race, followed by Antonio Felix da Costa, Eduardo Mortara rounding out the top three. So now D'Ambrosio is winning the Drivers' Championship, followed by da Costa, Bird, and then Degrassi, and Verline now up to P5 in the championship. And the Constructors, Mahindra's now winning.
Tractors.
And then followed by Virgin and BMW. On to Hong Kong. Van Dorn's on pole here.
That's my boy.
Which is weird to see. Roland, P3. Roland, P2. Andre Lauderer, P3.
I'm sorry, you're mispronouncing. It's Rowland.
It is that same guy. If you weren't...
We've been over this.
Oh, we have?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if we had talked about him in Formula E context before.
Yes, we have.
Oh, yeah, because he's driving for Nissan.
Yeah, Rowland.
Anyway, Verline is starting P21 and D'Ambrosio P22.
What's the deal?
Did you figure out why they were back there?
So I need to look into what the fuck is up with qualifying. It seems like the higher you are in the Drivers' Championship, like you start sooner in qualifying or something. Like it seems like qualifying is harder for you somehow the higher up you are in the Drivers' Championship.
Maybe not necessarily harder, but it could, if it's what you're saying it is, where you go first if you had a qualifying, if
like
you're
it's
higher
broken
in the
up into different like sections where like 5 drivers qualify at a time. That I know. So now continue, now that you know that, which I assume you didn't before.
It doesn't change anything that I'm about to say. So if you're higher in the Drivers' Championship, so you get an earlier qualifying position, but the track is at a worse condition at that time, I think that, yes, it could be a hindrance to you in qualifying, but I don't know that it necessarily by default makes it harder, because if you get the dry session and the later sessions are wet, then it's made it easier for you.
Yeah, but I think also another thing is I think maybe it's like I think like they take like the top driver from every one of the 5, like they do like multiple sessions, and the top driver from each of those goes into like the super pole session. It seems like it's broken up in a really weird way to where also it's like the top 5 drivers are all going to be in that first round together, and like only one of them could possibly even be in the fight for pole, I think. But again, yeah, I need to look into qualifying and see what the fuck is up with it, because it seems really weird.
That does sound super weird.
But also maybe something was wrong with their... I don't know. Because, yeah, both of them are back there, which is weird. But both of them are also out on, like, lap 2 after the car immediately ahead of them ran into the wall, and then they couldn't avoid it because the corner was so narrow.
Street circuits and
they were following so close behind him.
And the track wet.
Yep. So that sucks. Van Dorn is out after like 20 minutes due to a drive shaft problem, and he retires. On the last lap of the race, Bird has been fighting Lauderer for the for first place for like the back half of this race, and finally on the last lap, Bird like rear ends Lauderer, punctures his tire, and takes the lead. And then...
That makes it sound way more deliberate than what it may have actually been.
Well, they were like bumping into each other the entire fucking race, but on this last lap, he like bumps into him from the back and punctures his tire.
He was trying to late brake Lauderer and locked up a little bit, and so his nose rubbed up against the tire of the car in front of him, and it just resulted in a puncture. It's not like he speared him into a corner. It was like, later, nerd.
No. Which we'll get into next race.
Oh boy. The start of these races, I will say, is absolutely insane.
It's a goddamn clusterfuck.
It's just a bunch of carbon fiber crunching together. It's absolutely a madhouse. We need to watch the start of this Hong Kong race after we finish recording.
Is it like turning a bunch of like 7-year-olds loose?
No, it's a little bit more organized than that because everybody's going the right way.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like they're
trying to fit 6 cars around a 2-car wide corner.
Yeah, because like everybody's like, oh, I need to gain an advantage here at the start. Like, so you get like a bunch of cars that are like all like, you just get several like bunched together, and it's like, oh, now we have to fit through this tiny fucking hole. And they can't do it.
There was a really good shot in this race.
So what, do they just fucking play chicken? Like who
much
breaks first?
And, and they just all crunch into each other.
They all always just lose.
There's a really good camera shot from this Hong Kong race from the front right fender looking rearward of a car leading another car. And that second car basically looks like it just drives over the floor in front of that car, squeezing through a gap that didn't really exist.
It's like me in project cars.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bird got penalized after the conclusion of this race. I think he ended up with like a 5-second penalty. So he got his win stripped here.
You could kind of tell, like when he got out of the car, it was very muted. Of just like,
because he was like, they're probably gonna take this.
I need to put my hands in the air because that's what the winners do. But I don't know if I'm gonna be.
I don't feel like a winner.
Yeah, and that brings us to Sanya, which is China. Roland's on pole here.
Is it on a beach? They kept saying it was on a beach.
I think so.
The Hong Kong race, like, was there sand?
I wasn't paying that close attention.
Sand.
I didn't pay attention to like the wide shots.
I guess they don't have streets on the beach, do they?
Not usually.
All right.
Jean-Eric Verne, P2, DaCosta, P3, D'Ambrosio's P8, Verline, P9, and Van Dorn, P13. Bird's back in P16. Bird and Van Dorn both retire pretty early on in this race as Van Dorn ran into Bird.
Van Dorn's having a rough go of it in Formula E.
He sure is. Some of it, like,
out of his control, track shaft failure, not his fault.
Yeah, but he's had some unforced errors as well. We've been crashing into some people. Towards the very end of this race, Sebastian Buemi started from the pit lane and has made it up to like P7 at this point somehow. Mainly just like bullying his way past like anyone he comes across. His car's fucked up at this point. Like he's taken so much goddamn damage. It's shocking. And like the penultimate lap, he crashes into Robert Friends, who then spears into Degrassi as he's taking this fucking corner. And like Degrassi was at like in like P4 at this point, and Degrassi's the only one that's out from this. He was just like completely uninvolved.
How are these cars built like fucking tanks if they're made of carbon fiber? Is it because they're so fucking slow the aero doesn't matter?
So they're not aerodynamically dependent.
Yeah, the aero is very like
they're
showy,
aesthetically aerodynamic.
Yeah, so
God damn it,
they look rad from the back. I don't like them from the front, but from the back they look rad.
Yeah, so they're designed to where they can race really closely because it's all like these street circuits. So they. And also, the cars do stay very fucking close, like, the entire race. Like, because you'll get, like, 5 cars all within a second of each other, like, towards the end of a race.
It's kind of spec racing, though, right?
So the
like
body is
homologated. Yeah, they're homologated chassis.
Yes.
But
so it's just the electric motor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Or the batteries.
I would like to see a non-homologated Formula E. I would be into that.
It'll probably happen once you get like more companies that are actually like able
also-
to participate.
I'll also say,
In that way.
after you watch a race or two races, the drone of the electric motors becomes less aggravating.
It's pretty aggravating.
If you just catch a sound clip of it, it is bad. But after you watch it for a duration of time, it normalizes a bit.
I worked at the go-kart track.
Yeah.
The electric go-kart track.
Fair enough.
Kind of just drones on. That doesn't make it good. You just,
No, I'm not saying it's good, but
Stop.
it gets less bad.
You just stop hearing it.
Yeah. Kind of like when you work in a store that plays a set number of songs.
5 songs.
Yeah.
So Jean-Eric Verne wins this race, followed by... Oh, also, Verne was under investigation for not following safety car procedure to restart the race. And Roland behind him, his team's all right, just hold position here behind him. And then Verne does not get penalized for it. And they were just we don't want to risk the car attacking him, and maybe he'll get penalized to be behind us. And it sucked for Roland in the end, because it's oh well, I mean, I guess you're P2, but you maybe could have fought for the win instead of just sitting behind him hoping that he got penalized.
Or you could have bumper carred yourself out of the race.
Or that.
Because it seems like that is very likely to happen in this series.
Indeed. So yeah.
They need one of those rings around the cars. It's made of plastic.
So yeah, DaCosta P2, Roland P2, DaCosta P3, D'Ambrosio back in P6, Verline P7 in this race. So now this brings us up to the present day. Currently, the Drivers' Championship leading is DaCosta with 62 points. Second place, D'Ambrosio, 61 points. Then Jean-Eric Verne with 54. Sam Bird, 54. DeGrassi, 52. So the top 5 are separated. And actually, 6th place, I don't remember who it was. They also have 52 points. So there is 10 points between 1st place and 6th place, and there's a tie for 3rd and a tie for 5th currently.
That seems okay.
Over in the Constructors' Championship, Virgin is winning with 97 points. Mahindra is in P2 with 97 points. Audi P3, 96. Techeetah P4, 95. So 2 points splitting the top 4 constructors. And then BMW's P5 with 80 points. So both championships are incredibly close still at this point, halfway through the season.
Okay, so there's 5 more races?
There's 7 more races. There's been 6 races, and there's 7 more. With a doubleheader in New York.
Gotcha.
So there's 6 more destinations.
Okay.
So yeah, there's been 6 Formula E races so far. 6 different winners also. Which is...
That's pretty good.
Pretty cool.
I guess.
Yep.
Unless you're a fan of a driver.
Yeah. Verline almost won 2 races, though. I wish he had. And, maybe he still will. Mahindra seems pretty good. They seem not just because of the India comparison, but they kind of seem like the Force India of Formula E. Just oh yeah, these guys are kind of like the little team that can. And it's they're actually up there.
I
get it, you guys.
I have an update on the Fez.
Oh yeah?
It's from the Ottoman Empire, which is not India.
It's nearby, right?
Yeah, it's close, but that's not...
It's the Middle East.
Yeah.
Is what the Ottoman Empire turned into, I do believe.
Yeah,
Turkey and all those folks.
Yeah.
Well, they busted out a bunch of Fezes.
Maybe they're just nerds.
Were they Fezes in the traditional sense, or were they Branded Fezes?
Were they like a Doctor Who Fez?
Were they red?
They were red.
Did
with
they
the
look
little...
felt?
Yes.
That's
with the yellow tassel.
It's bad.
So now, Saturday, is the next race, round 7, in Rome. And this...
Are they racing around the Colosseum?
The racing inside of it, yeah.
Wow.
That's
big budget.
That's not true.
No, it's not true. But
I want to watch this race this weekend, but I'm not going to because I know it'll be much less pleasant than if I just wait for it to get on YouTube.
It's true.
So this race I want to watch, but I'm not gonna for a couple weeks. And then probably whatever races before New York, I'm going to have to watch live on Fox Sports so that I know what's happening going into New York. Because I don't remember if I said that on here. I've now officially got my tickets to New York City. I think I maybe said that last time.
I think you did.
E-Prix.
Oh, right. Sorry.
But speaking of excitement, which now I'm very excited for seeing those races in New York. Like, I was dreading watching these Formula E races, and now that I've watched them, I'm super happy I did. They were all really fun. Good shit. But something I'm even more excited for, Super GT season opener this Sunday.
Where?
Okayama.
What prefixture?
Okayama.
What track?
Okayama.
Okay.
Yama.
It's a 300-kilometer race, and I'm excited for it. Check that out on Nismo TV on YouTube.
It seems
where
like
it is
you can get
broadcast
lots
live.
of good motorsport on YouTube.
Yeah. Formula E and Super GT. Those are the two good ones that are on YouTube. There's probably the only two motorsports that are on YouTube.
I think that you're wrong.
I'm going to go and say you're wrong there.
Oh, well.
I think I've seen like some full WEC races and stuff on YouTube.
Oh, we thought we were talking about good stuff, like Formula E.
No, you just said those are the only two motorsports.
No, you just said good stuff.
Yeah, Formula E.
Are we done with the Formula E-pisode? You see what I did there?
I did. That's a pretty good title. You look at your phone, it says that, I bet.
It does. I'm sitting here like not listening to you. Like, what are we going to call this? Yeah, I like Super GT as well.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to get back to that. There's been some like shakeups, like I've mentioned before. Jan Martinborough's on a different Nissan team this year, so curious to see
Is
how
it still a factory team? I think we talked about
they
this.
all are.
Oh, okay.
They technically all are. In GT 500, they're all factory teams. Which is
neat.
Yeah.
You know what else is this weekend?
The Chinese Grand Prix, the 1000th F1 race.
Yes.
Well, that's not what I was going to say.
Oh.
It's the Bubba Burger Grand Prix
Oh.
Don't care.
at Long Beach.
What is this?
It's an IMSA thing.
Oh. Is that on
And then
YouTube?
you have the Acura Grand Prix at Long Beach for IndyCar, which
Dario Franchitti going to be there?
Speaking
I've
of...
spent some time in the simulator at Long Beach, and I fucking hate street circuits.
Yeah, I don't like that Long Beach circuit. You know that part where it goes left half circle around the fountain?
Yeah.
I don't like that part of the track.
I just try to like cut it
Jump
straight.
the fountain.
Yeah. But I did it in the IndyCar and Project Cars too, and it was really hard.
That sounds really hard.
It was really hard.
Did you guys see that there was a like My Bariatric Specialist
What?
NASCAR Xfinity Series
Oh.
race?
I did not.
Did you see
It's an
that?
awful title name.
I can't remember this fucking guy's name. There's like a millennial car in NASCAR,
What?
which has like
Is it like half of the field?
no, it's like this livery that's like dedicated to millennials, even though it's not millennials. It's like the generation after millennials that say the shit that's all over this car. Things like
Is it
lit,
just a meme car?
kind of.
That sucks. Wouldn't
I'm upset that it said
Dogecoin
meme
a
out loud on
car?
recording.
Wasn't there a Doge car in NASCAR a couple of years ago?
Yeah, but that
By
was
a couple,
like
I mean, like 10.
self-funded.
Still sucks.
Hang on, I want to give the driver his due. Well,
What is the
what is-
opposite of do?
yeah? How do I make that like a negative?
Actually, I
I'm
don't
gonna
know. I
highlight
guess
him in the shame spotlight.
if it looks really terrible, I could maybe get behind it. Which I like. It has to look. It's a fine line between being regular terrible and like fun terrible.
I'm gonna guess that this is not gonna be fun terrible.
I don't know if it just says "It's lit, fam" on the side. That's pretty good.
Kevin Harvick is the driver.
Wait, he's like 50.
he's fucking old.
What the fuck?
And it's got like all kinds of YOLO swag, hashtag basic, and like emojis. Felicia. Yes.
Oh, it's a bunch of like several-year-old references.
This is
Fun.
like old.
Stay woke.
This is like Gen Z shit.
Shade.
What's the generation above us?
Fleek AF is on the nose
like older
of this
than
car.
this. Like this is like
X, I think.
It's got like a tweet on the hood.
I think it's Gen. I think Gen Z is maybe the one.
I don't
after
think that this
us.
is actually it. This might be like an iRacing thing. It's
terrible.
It's bad.
Speaking of iRacing, Max Verstappen. I forgot his name. I almost said Sebastian Vettel. He won some 12-hour race.
All right, so
in a
I
simulator.
actually have an opinion about this. I'm in a bunch of iRacing pages on Facebook.
Oh.
And so Max Verstappen was in some iRacing deal.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of NASCAR guys and IMSA guys and stuff who race iRacing, which is rad because you can race with.
Do you know Lando Norris is a Twitch streamer?
Yeah,
I believe it because he's a Generation Z guy.
No, he does iRacing too.
But it's like fucking stealing candy from a baby.
well, I think most of the people in
Guys like Jan Martinborough are not normal. Who are that good and then you get to go be a real race car driver. These people show up in random lobbies and just kick the shit out of everybody. How is that fun for them?
Because it's going to happen regardless of whether it's Max Verstappen or some 9-year-old. Someone's going to beat your ass.
No. It.
You asking how is it fun for Max?
Why do pro racing drivers do it in just public lobbies?
What do they want to do? Just drive alone?
Well,
I imagine some amount of chaos is good for their reaction time. Just building.
It's hey, I'm a racing
also, there's
driver.
some NASCAR guys who just intentionally go in and put people on the wall and shit. There was one a while back who got banned from iRacing.
Yeah, doing that shit in iRacing will get you fucking banned from that game.
Yeah.
They take that shit very seriously.
The driver ranking thing seems pretty rad.
But also, you hear stories of oh yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Found his spotter
in
on
iRacing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's all bad, but guys who Kyle Busch, who win every fucking NASCAR race, and then he goes home and he's yeah, I'm gonna go crush some fucking nerds and just do it all day. I don't understand that or why that's allowed.
I assume
It's a video game. What do you mean why it's allowed?
yeah.
iRacing's pretty strict. They've got this whole ranking system and
Well, yeah, I assume most of the people that are going to be in a race with Max Verstappen are also pretty serious about the game.
Yes.
And might not be as good actual racing drivers, but are pretty good at iRacing.
Yes.
So I would think
I
it'd be
still don't
fun for
understand
them
it.
to have that challenge of
every-
this is one of the best fucking drivers in the world, and now I get
Max
to fucking
Verstappen,
race him.
every now and again,
Mm-hmm.
I've got no issues with that. I just kind of took your thing and ran with it of
You just hate Kurt Busch.
Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch. Is Kurt Busch a driver too?
Yes, that's his brother. Yeah. I think they finished 1-2 at some race last weekend. I think. I got the things on the Facebook, and it tells me
To get mad.
Motorsports. No, I form those opinions on my own. But it's a weird deal. Oddly enough, I'm probably gonna join iRacing.
Neat. You're going to be really bad at it.
Yeah,
for
my
a long time.
driver ranking's gonna be terrible.
I feel like simulators are great, but you can never replicate the tactile feedback that an actual car would give you. And
Sure you can.
No.
You just got to put more money into it.
No,
No.
I don't think it will be there someday, but we're not there now. But
the tilt and stuff like that it gets closer, but it's still not quite right.
I've always felt that way playing driving games and simulators and stuff. Even when I went to this setup, which is in front of us, it's not quite right, but god damn it, it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's not. It is a lot of fun, but it's definitely
And there are
not the same thing as being in a
things-
car.
No, it's not the same. But there are things about this that kind of replicate that. This, I don't have to put a set of brake pads and rotors on every time it goes and does
yes,
something.
absolutely.
or a set of tires, or this is the closest that I'm going to get to that in my life.
I feel like the hardest thing for them to actually capture about the real car feeling is just acceleration, deceleration. Like, you're never going to get, like, pushed back into your seat.
If you tilt
They've
back,
got,
you
like,
do feel that.
Not the way, like, you could in, like, an actual, like,
and
fucking
I think
race
that
car.
It will be there someday as far as, like, simulation goes, but, like, it's never going to be just right. Like, the physics are never going to be just right.
Man.
We'll always be at, like, 90%.
Jack that thing right into my brainstem, bro.
That'd be dope.
Hell yeah. If the simulator's just inside
like
of
a
you,
Matrix,
then you can just, like, feel it without having to experience
like,
it.
jack in with that huge, like, knife thing that goes in the back of my head.
Nope. Give me Ghost in the Shell, bro.
Just, like, small audio cables, like 6 of them.
Yeah.
So, blip, blip, bleep.
Yeah,
Bro,
it's way less painful.
HDMI is just one. They got to pair up. Like, they got to talk to each other.
Handshake.
They got to do the handshake.
Yeah, but it's...
We don't...
I'm looking for higher
We're
quality.
using RCA cables here, man.
Talking video over 3.5 millimeter headphone jack.
But yeah, if any of our listeners are on iRacing, please send me a message on Facebook. I would like to have a conversation with you before I go.
Is iRacing expensive?
It's like a monthly fee.
It's
like,
a monthly fee, but like everything in that game costs money.
yeah.
You gotta buy like tracks.
It's like you gotta buy.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, you gotta. Hey, you want to buy this car? It's like $50.
I looked at this like a year or so ago, and it was like $350 for all the content. But I don't want.
What is this, Train
I
Simulator?
don't want.
I mean, Train
I don't-
Simulator costs you like $2,000.
I don't want all the content.
Right.
Like, I want the tracks, but I only want like certain cars. Like, I'm not interested in trying to run NASCAR.
You just want an
iRacing.
MX-5.
That, but I like GTLM cars. Like, my primary thing in project cars is the C7R.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I drive. I like GTLM cars a lot, or GTD cars.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever racing series specification you want. That's probably what I'd try to do.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like the prices in that game are kind of high just due to there's like necessarily going to be a pretty small player base to actually buy
Agreed.
in. So
Yes.
it's like, for us to actually be able to run this thing the way they do, they have to charge more.
They also probably want some
Like
barrier
barrier.
of entry
Yeah.
to be like, we don't want people to just everyone be playing this because we kind of want.
Yeah, you need to
have
take this
actually have
seriously.
a commitment to like a financial commitment or investment in.
There's
doing
layers deep in this too. Like, there's like public lobbies that you can jump in, but like people form their own leagues inside of that, and that's all they do because they don't want filthy casuals like me in their MX5 Cup.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah, you don't want
iRacing is pretty deep.
you don't want the like guy from Forza that's just gonna spear you in the first corner.
Yeah, the me.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get better at the stuff before I... Like, I'm getting better, but passing is, like, my thing that I'm really got to work on.
Yeah.
Because contact's gonna get made. Like, that's where I struggle. Like, I don't spear them every time, but, like, I try to Daniel Ricciardo everybody, and I always get, like, either turned down into or, like, kind of touch their door.
Some of that I feel like is a problem with this. Man, we're going to go on a tangent here. Video game AI does not have great pathfinding when they make it to a corner in advance of you. They are just like, I'm going to pretend that you're not there, and I'm just going to drive into you
Close the
regardless of the
door.
consequences.
Yeah.
Not even just close the door, but one or both of us is crashing now.
Yes, but people on the internet are also like that because there's no risk.
Yeah.
Like, in iRacing, there's risk because it fucks up your safety rating. Like, how good a driver you are. Because, like, there's, like, different classes of that. And, like, when you're down in the bottom, you're racing with the people who spear you in turn one. Like, so you have to escape that to get to the people who don't do that. It's a weird It's a weird deal. We went on way too long about video games.
Yeah. Speaking of racing, Formula One's back
Yes.
this weekend for the 1,000th race in China.
Shanghai
as Jeff said.
specifically.
I don't
Like
care
20
about
minutes
the
ago.
number.
I actually don't care about the number either because I feel like
They've pushed it too hard.
It would be cooler if this was the last race of the season, but I kind of feel like this. They're like, it's countdown to the 1,000th race, and it's like, this is the third one. What are we going to do for the rest of the season?
We're going to count down to
They're just going to not say anything anymore.
1,500.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things that it just seems like it's going to be like they're trying to get a lot of emotional investment in, and then they're just never going to mention it again during the rest of the season, and that's kind of a bummer.
That's so. It seemed since we saw it last year with the countdown, like try hardy. Like it's, I get like it's a cool milestone, but they're making
Formula E was
two.
celebrating
Their 50th race.
50, number 50.
That's true.
They're making too big a deal about it for me to care.
It's Toro Rosso's 250th race.
That's cool.
That is cool.
That is cool.
That's cool that coincides.
That's cooler than the thousandth race to me. I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm also just a goddamn hater.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
I sent you guys the Renault poster for this weekend, and holy
bad.
crap, I could not read it.
It's
bad.
really terrible.
It's very French.
It was not very French.
Yeah, it's bad.
In English.
Boo.
To
To
which
Austin.
one of us? Okay.
Big fan of the French over here, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, France. is
French
pretty
fries are great.
Cool. Yeah. I went to
They're
Montreal
maybe
and then
Belgium, but
That's also not France.
a homeless man came up to me
It's
and in
very
French
French.
asked me for money. And then I said, no, I don't know what you're saying, man. And he was like, I was asking you for money. I was like, cool.
this is a weird exchange.
Yep, I was like, this will solve it because it's clear what he's doing. I just can't understand
also
the words.
still no.
Yeah, I was like, I'm
No hablo.
American.
I'm a bastard. I'm from the States.
Yeah, I feel like very similar to last race. I have no idea going into this one who is going to be on top. Like, it could be Ferrari or it could be Mercedes
I
again.
would like to see some free practice.
Could be Red Bull.
I would like to see some free practices as well.
It's
It's got a lot of straights, and if Red Bull's actually doing good in straights this year, then they might do good this at this track.
We say they, Max.
Yes.
Well, I mean, Pierre, you can't count him out. You
Count
are
him out.
super critical of people for no reason.
Count him out.
Hopefully he will get better this race.
Apparently, this is a race that decides Bottas' future, according to Austin.
Oh, yeah, Bottas is done. He didn't do enough last
I guess
race.
he got P2 last race. He's
That
out.
dude is done.
He's out.
He's out. He's fucking.
Qualifying in the race are at 1 a.m. Central Time. Race technically 1:10, but whatever.
Yeah.
Start watching at 1 a.m. so you can watch the grid stuff. Weather, very small chance of rain, so you may as well, it'll be dry. Weather around 70 degrees, temperature wise. Wind, I don't know. This track is also not as far out in the country as I feel like I was led to believe by all the announcers' comments.
Yeah, I feel like you're always led to believe it's like, this is way out in the fucking boonies.
And it's like,
Yeah, the same way Coda is. Like, it's
Yeah.
really not that far.
No, it's less far than that, is my impression after looking at Google Maps for about 5 minutes this morning.
I don't know. Like, we also live in a place that is very different from the rest of the world. We're like, yo, man, you want to go to Tulsa? Like, that's not that far.
It's not that far. It's like,
far
what, two... How far away is Tulsa? It's like 2 hours?
From here, it's like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less than.
Yeah, because we're going to do a buck the whole way there. Cause,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to
But,
go more than
like,
1 mile an
In
hour.
other parts of the world, like, you drive 2 hours, they don't speak the same language
You're in another
anymore.
country.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess like England is like 2 hours tall, if that.
Like, it's longer
more
than that.
that.
It's like an 8-hour thing from
Yeah.
the top to the bottom.
Talking about England, not
Yeah.
Scotland.
We're talking...
Fuck off.
Jesus Christ.
We're talking about England over here.
English land.
It's like 5 hours wide.
Is it?
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
thought England was smaller than that.
But, like,
But it is still like 2 hours is a long fucking time in England.
Yeah,
well, 2 hours in the
Most
rest
of
of
the
the
world.
world
Yeah.
is... That's a whole country.
Yeah, you except for Russia, China, and Australia. And Africa.
Well, in Australia, they don't go to the 2 hours away places.
No, you fly.
Yeah, there's nothing out there but death and
dingoes,
spiders, gint spitters, and
what?
Making up animals over here?
yeah, and fucking snakes and
Dingoes.
yeah.
You know they have ski resorts in Australia?
Nope.
No, they fucking don't.
Sure do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Do they ski on the sand?
No.
Oh, do they ski in the water?
No. They have...
Why don't they ski in the
snow.
water?
They don't fucking have mountains or snow in Australia.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Why don't
New
they?
Zealand
Why
also
don't they
does.
ski in the water?
I'm saying the ski resort.
In the water?
No. People can't
Shut the
water
fuck
ski.
up. Formula One.
New Zealand's got Lord of the Rings in it. You've seen those mountains.
Yeah, I didn't say New Zealand didn't.
Australia's basically the same thing.
They are not the same
I'm
thing.
sorry, Shay. It's not the same. Like it's kind of same, but different.
So New Zealand's like Lord of the Rings, and Australia's like the Game of Thrones.
Is it?
What?
Because those are basically the same. But,
No.
Those are not
but
the
people
same
will
at
people
all.
will
No.
say people will do that if you
There's
say that at
swords
them.
in both of them.
There's
And dragons.
they both
And
have the Union
wizards.
Jack on their flag, but
Is there-
it's not the
Okay.
it's not the same.
And the same stars, I think.
That is different.
I'm sorry, what?
Isn't it the same stars on
Brenda,
both
no,
the flags?
they both have a
gosh,
Union
I thought you were
Jack.
talking about the
There's there's like a star, and I don't know specifically what it is that's on one and not the other.
It's the North Star, I think.
They can't see that, I'm pretty sure.
Do you remember
They're on
last
the
year when
southern
Brendan Hartley
hemisphere.
was getting pissed because they were putting Australian flags on his fucking shit?
Getting pissed seems like a bit of a stretch, but
I think they get offended by that.
It was a joke for his birthday cake.
yes.
They had the New Zealand flag underneath the Australian flag.
Oh, that's a good deal.
I thought you were saying that, like, the stellar map in Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones was the same. I was like, who the fuck puzzled that out?
I don't even think they have stars in Game of Thrones. They live in a Dyson sphere.
What?
Have you never paid attention to that opening where the sun's in the middle of this fucking sphere?
But
Think about it, bro.
no, that doesn't pan out. That
Think
doesn't
about-
check
bro.
out.
Oh man, that's also back soon.
Bro, think about it.
Because following
It is the same fucking stars on both these flags. Fuck you.
They're
They're
Fuck
not.
both of you.
They are
They're
different.
different flags, but they have the 4 stars that are on the fucking New Zealand flag are also on the Australia flag. Australia just has like 2 fucking more.
Yeah, they're
It's not the
different.
same stars then.
That's the same stars on both of them. One of them just has a couple more, but
One of
they're
them
the
also has
same.
got like some red.
Yeah. Also, the stars are red on New Zealand's. Anyway, I was fucking right as always.
What are those stars
China-
named? They've got a cool name.
It's the North Star, all of them.
Orion's belt,
Stellaris.
the Big Dipper.
China. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting race.
What time?
Last year, 1 a.m.
1
Central
a.m.
Time.
Quali and race.
Yeah, last
As
year.
Jeff said a minute ago.
Shh.
If you were paying attention, you would have heard him say.
Shush it.
Last year was a very interesting race. There's a lot of mishaps. Max Verstappen, Max and Sebastian had a collision which altered the outcome of that race because they were leading, I want to say, which let Daniel Ricciardo win the race out of nowhere because he didn't start very close to the front, I don't think.
I have a prediction.
He is
That does
going-
not happen this year.
I agree with that prediction.
Which part?
Daniel Ricciardo winning.
Oh, yes, I gotta agree with that.
Let's see if Renault can make it out of into Q3 this race for the first time this year.
Let's see if they can have more than one car finish.
Let's
they
see
can
if
have
they'll
more
be
than one
the
car
worst
finish.
Renault powered team.
They already are. Let's see if they can break that trend. See how many minutes off the pace Williams is.
Pretty far.
Let's see if Pierre is getting more accustomed to the car. Let's see if Charles can redeem himself. Oh, speaking of Charles, it was an injector that failed on that cylinder.
Okay.
Which caused it to go down. Because I was thinking, man, if the cylinder failed, like that car shouldn't have finished that race. But it just seems like
They're
it was
sleeved, bro.
It
You
was
just
running
take it
dry.
out and put a new one.
So
That's also bad.
it is bad. I mean, it's got.
He's still running that motor, by the way.
Yeah.
So
So they only get 3 this season, right?
And
Yes.
last season.
yeah, same as last year. 3 over the season. They are not putting a different engine in his car, they could always go back to that one.
There's a
without
handful
penalty.
of components that they can replace without it counting as new engines.
Like a sleeve?
I don't know what extent it is, but there are a limited number of things that they can do. Just an FIA tech has to be there to be like, don't do that. Or that's okay.
You can't bore it out. You can't go 30 over.
I'm going to say that 30 over in these engines would be a massive difference.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
In regards to F1, do you guys want to talk about Fantasy GP?
We can talk about Fantasy GP. That Bahrain race really messed with the standings.
A lot.
I'll say.
Well, to be fair,
It's the second race, so it
Yes.
has a lot of chance to do that.
I moved 7 places, though.
Yeah. For the hosts here, it was a pretty good time as far as...
Yeah, I think I went
How
up
we
just
did.
2 or 3. Not great, but positive.
You went up 1.
Positive.
That is a positive. If you can do that for the rest of the season,
Then I win.
you'll win.
Yeah, you'll be in negative
If you can go
6th
up
place.
0.5 places every other race, I think you'll be okay. I'm P3.
Yeah, Dawson jumped 7 places.
I lead this group.
Zachary Carroll jumped 4. He's up to first place.
I'm pretty...
Eyes Up Auto Art is leading our Grand Prix.
Yeah. If somebody had to win who is a listener, I hope that it's Zach. I like him. He does good paintings.
He does good paintings.
That's a good looking painting right over there.
It's true.
Who do you guys know who Genius is?
I do not know who that is.
I do not know
A
either.
major malmus organization.
But Genius is 278 points, and I have 277 in third, so that's a real tight thing.
We are 2 races in. Everyone is very tight.
Yes, Daniel's right behind me, P4.
Except for Devin.
Jake from Racers HQ is P5. Jeff P6. Adam Nielsen down 7 places.
Woof.
Yeah, it makes me feel a little good. And then also Robbie Veerhout down 6 places.
Woof.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, 48 points separates the top
I don't
10.
typically like to see people fail. Boy.
That doesn't seem true.
That doesn't sound true at all.
in this
That-
situation, it feels
that-
pretty good.
No, just in general, you
Oh.
seem like you really
No, man,
enjoy
I want
watching people
everybody to
fail.
do
Like
good.
that's kind of your whole brand. I feel.
No, I like to see people do good.
What keeps you up in
I like
the
to see
morning?
people
What
do
gets
well.
you out of bed every day?
Yeah, wanting people to do good.
No. 48 points separate the top 10 in our Fantasy GP league, so it's still anyone's game.
Indeed.
My wife's still beating Devin.
It's true.
I mean, I'm pretty low with that. That first race did me really rotten, much like last year. But this year, I think I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna call it right now. I win. At the end of the year, I've won.
Devin is the McLaren of this league.
Yeah, I'm actually.
And then I'm much
feeling-
better than last year.
No,
Agreed.
making drastic changes for next to no
I'm
gain.
feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good going into this. We'll see how it goes after this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not particularly confident in my benefiting from this weekend's race.
I need to manipulate my team.
I'm not going to manipulate my team, just my picks.
Yep, it's all down to predictions. I've got the perfect team.
As shown by your
As shown
strong
by-
13th place standing.
It's just the predictions that are the problem here.
Clearly.
I put too much faith in Ferrari to not fuck up. I won't do that again. This actually, now
You
that
have
I've said
failed
that,
me for the last time, Ferrari.
which was once. That's too much.
Twice, really.
That's pretty good.
No, it's just once. Predictions wise. I didn't predict them to get on the fucking podium at all in Australia. Anyway,
I think that's a show.
that is a show.
I don't
That
have
was-
anything else to talk about.
Feels like a lengthy show.
It's about an hour.
All right.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I like hour-long shows.
Yeah.
That's what happens when we have things to talk about. Speaking of things to talk about,
Miku's back this weekend. HatsuneMiku.racing.
there you go. Radio Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. RadioPodcast.com. We are still in the midst of this host transfer. So, again, please make sure that you're subscribed on all your things. Just double check for us.
Probably are.
We just don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
It'd be a bad deal.
Everything's probably fine.
I think we've got it hooked up pretty well. But I don't want to risk it.
But if we ever don't show up on a Friday,
You just got to go find us, and you can get
We'll
us
be
back.
back.
HatsuneMiku.racing.
Yeah, that's the place. I think that's it.
RadioPodcast.com if you can't spell Hatsune Miku for some reason.
It's really easy. It's spelled out like it sounds.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, by the way, did I tell you guys about there's a Gundam and Hello Kitty collabo this year?
That's unfortunate.
This seems not in the realm of my interest.
No, it's completely unrelated to this podcast. It's just a really weird collabo for Gundam's 40th anniversary and Hello Kitty's 45th.